Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and it is time for us to begin year 6 of our weekly painting progress. Yeah, year 6. That is absolutely insane. I double-checked myself. It was the week of Thanksgiving of 2018 that I first decided to start posting stuff on the internet, and here we are, 10,000 plus people later that sometimes watch this stuff. And that's just kind of crazy. And at this point, this channel has become kind of self-fulfilling and self-sustaining, and that's really kind of cool to see. And I appreciate everybody out there that is continuing to watch this. That is kind of wild. And before I get all, emotionally mushy-gushy on you guys, I might sound a little funky. I have been sick probably since the last time I posted anything. I took a weekend off right before the holidays to just unwind with my wife, and as soon as we basically stepped out of the house, boom, I'm sick. And my son was sick, and I'm still kind of got it lingering around, but thankfully it seems to be going away. And unfortunately, we do have to all return to reality as I try to fight off a cough just now. But anyways, let's get on to the fun stuff. I did get a pile of figures from my brother. And without further ado, we're going to let the cavalcade of tabletop miniatures begin. Now, I know the... there we go, see? I know these guys were Zarek Besh. And they come to us courtesy of Skullforge Miniatures, who continue to just really dig stuff out of the whole expanded universe and all kinds of interesting stuff that is related to a particular galaxy a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Yeah, anyway. That's where these dudes came from. This next figure, I have absolutely no idea at this point, and maybe somebody can help remind me. I know it's absolutely supposed to be a Harkonnen Ranger here, based on probably the recent movie, judging by his hunchback and that black helmet and the hatchet, but I cannot recall who distributed these and sculpted them. If you guys know, by all means, post it in the comments below, because I can't remember. But these all come to us courtesy of my brother, Mr. Percival Sparkletrout, who probably goes by a million other names online, where I have just the one. This next figure is one of those kinds of figures that really, truly needs more eyes on them. And that is another of Dork Factory's fun figures. Which one this is exactly, I cannot remember either, but maybe that's just the Fugu state of Fugu. I can't even speak words right today. Anyway, just a fun, interesting figure from one of the more recent Dork Factory releases, and we'll do our best to get more of the kind of funky, fun stuff like that on here. Obviously painted up in a bit of AdMech colors, but it totally works for this guy. Next up, this is, what was it called? A Devastator, wasn't it? From Helldivers, and this particular one comes to us courtesy of Papsicles. Papsicles, who continues to be the reigning champion of just really coming up with all kinds of fun and interesting sculpts based on stuff that has long remained dormant in those regards and just continues to make some really cool stuff. It's also a pretty big figure. I know he has some other stuff painted, but like I said, I've been too sick to really deal with it, and I have to get back to work, so I'm going to save those as a fallback for the next time I have to post one of these. Hopefully it'll be next week, but I can't promise anything. Alright, I did my best over the last couple weeks to try to get stuff painted, and I've started, and I don't seem to ever finish anything these days. I did get this guy done. This was one of the more recent Bestiarum Chaos Warriors. They've done a couple of different sets. They did have modular parts, but I know in the past they'd had a lot more really kind of kit bash ones. And I know with everybody going crazy over Trench Crusade these days, I feel like there's a lot of fun parts to be had with these, especially if you are versed in the ways of Mesh Mixer or Blender or something like that. I think if you wanted to digitally kit bash some of these kits with the newer stuff, and speaking of Bestiarum, obviously, if you haven't seen, they've got a campaign running currently on their Penitent Crusades on my mini factory, which if you click on their link, which I'll have down below, you'll find soon enough. And they have some Trench Crusade inspired stuff. Actually, they have some really cool freebie figures, and I'll have to post a video on that because I've got this humongous backlog of Bestiarum models sitting around me here that really need to get some eyes on them. And we can post that link while we're at it then. These next models are something that I've really wanted to get around to painting, and I finally had a great excuse. Those are the British troops for Gloom Trench 1926 from Fickle Dice Games. Now these guys are pretty modular. You have your generic body with a whole bunch of different types of heads, and these are closer to 28 millimeters, so they're a lot more kind of, if you have like War Games Atlantic stuff, for example, they're going to be a lot more that scale, but because of that, their heads are going to be compatible with a lot of other options. So if you wanted to do that, despite the fact that Fickle Dice made a ton of different heads for them, you do have that option available to you. So I went ahead and put together just a few of the basic riflemen. Are they the best paint jobs? Nah. I tried throwing a bunch of washes on them and I wasn't super happy, so this is kind of like a nice in-between. Are they the best painted? No. There's some really nice ones out there on YouTube and on social media, but mine are going to get the job done. Could I have enlarged them? Probably. Going off of the freebie file for the upcoming Westphalia stuff, if you haven't seen those, I mean, they've been posting those all over the place as well. Those have been looking really nice. Those are going to be closer to 32 millimeter, whereas the actual Trench Crusade stuff is at that scale. Obviously, it being a miniatures agnostic game, you can use whatever the heck you want, kit bash things to your heart content, or you can just be lame and get some of these guys. And the thing is, when they first were kickstarted, I really, really wanted to get them, and I could not come up with a good use of them at the time. But now I got a good excuse. So in addition to the basic rifleman, got our guy with the machine gun here. And the bad support removal that I probably need to go back and fix. I do like the layers of chainmail underneath everybody, as well as their daggers there. I did try to paint the different layers, different colors. I don't know how apparent that is, but there was an attempt made. And then the first of my flamethrower troopers. Notice there is no end on that nozzle that's been painted. I need to fix that. I can't abide by that. And yeah, everything's super glossy. I just ended up at a small hobby shop that I've been to a couple times, not in my neck of the woods, and I picked up paint, and I picked up other things, and in the back of my head I was thinking before I walked in, I should totally get some more matte sealer, and obviously with me making this comment, did not purchase matte sealer. So next time I go there, which is in a couple weeks when my wife gets her hair done, I need to buy matte sealer because I'm really running low. One of these days I'm going to get around to painting some of the breachers they have with the shields and the pistols. Those guys were pretty cool. And I've got some of their Highlanders that I've already started working on, but we'll get to them when we get to them. If you guys haven't seen them, like I said, they are a really cool bunch of models. They are on my mini factory at this point if you don't want to mess with Kickstarter stuff. They have Russians as well if that's something you're looking for. And then to support them, I had been eyeing some various models just for funsies, just something different. And it hit me because I'm always looking at this artist's stuff. If you guys are familiar with Diverging Realms, they make some really weird, interesting, grimdark stuff. But then I thought, you know what? Some of that might be able to be used in other settings as well. And I was specifically looking for something to make like New Antioch mechanized infantry. And I feel like I've got a pretty good handle on that despite how nice and clean and glossy it is. This is one of Diverging Realms' Auxilia Gateway Wardens. Now these guys were actually supposed to be Space Marine sized. Like, if I give you the actual files to show you, if you print them as is, they're literally the same height as these Gloom Trenchers, which are literally the same height as a typical War Games Atlantic figure. So I printed them up a little bit larger to replicate the idea of a big, huge battle suit, and I think it works pretty well. And the nice thing is, they're actually in all three flavors that the new Antioch stuff comes in. You've got your Gatling guns, you've got your pole arms, and you got your flamethrowers. I really like the cables that they've got, like, going between the various joints. You've got, like, the kind of exoskeleton frame here. Just the bulk of it doesn't scream Space Marine. I mean, yeah, I can totally see it. But to me, this is just a great excuse for a new Antioch mechanized infantry unit. Plus the fact that Diverging Realms is actually going to be doing work with Trench Crusade. I'm really curious to see what they come up with, because when they get weird, they get weird. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out their work, obviously, we'll have those links down below as well. Out of the way, gentlemen. And finally, something I'd wanted to get finished, and I actually did, was the new Iron Lich, courtesy of Steamforged Games. Yeah, he's way too shiny at the moment. That is a major detriment. No cricks should be shiny. They should be, well, I guess they could be. They should be dull, dark, and sooty. But really, both Privateers, I think this was still when Privateer was doing it, but Steamforged, I feel like, has been doing a really nice job with this stuff. What's kind of funny is I'd ordered some other models of theirs, and it took like almost a month to get things shipped. But once they realized, I contacted them and I'm like, hey, is this normal? And they're like, no, it's not. Once they figured things out, like, the shipping was like near instantaneous. So I do appreciate the fact that they got that rolling. And no, I'm not like trying to use any clout as a influencer or anything of that regard. I'm like, when it comes to picking this stuff up, I'm out there just like you guys. But really, for a single piece figure, it was kind of annoying to try to get under that cloak, but overall, I am quite pleased and happy with it. I feel like it turned out relatively decent. If you want to use it for some kind of trench warfare stuff, I mean, hey, why not, right? Crix is one of those factions that I feel like you can throw them in any tabletop game and you'll find a home for them. Especially the more Iron Lich, Necrofactorium, machine spirit types. There's always a place for these guys. But definitely not as shiny. So, despite everything, a nice little haul, and the fact that we enter into year 6, I do look forward to showing off just as many models. I feel like as time has gone on and the world has changed significantly since things first started here, even just the things that my attention has been on and the games that have been played since, it's kind of interesting to see and look back. And if you guys are interested, if you have any discussion ideas or thoughts on what might be cool to have on this channel in the future, I am always all ears. You can find me on Discord. I did start a Discord, and I'm never on it as often as I need to. I know some of these guys out there live on Discord. I am usually busy teaching, so I don't have time to do that. I do try to do it when I get home. But if you want to get on the Discord, you can find a link, I think, through the Patreon. It's free. I mean, the Patreon, if you guys want to throw a couple bucks here and there, I have it like set to $1. I mean, if you enjoy the content that we've been putting out for 6 years, hey, that buck at least is going to eventually cover the cost of resin to keep showing you guys this stuff. And I mean, like I said, I'm not one to really try to, toot my horn in that regard and ask for handouts, but it is appreciated, and those of you that have continued to support the channel, I do appreciate that fact as well. So thank you in that regards. I don't know if I need to start having a list of names start rolling by, if it makes people feel good. I mean, we can do that too, I guess. But honestly, I would love to have more people involved and discussing things. So do hit up that Discord link, because then I have a good excuse to argue tabletop stuff with people. Yeah. So with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching for the last 5 years. Looking forward to the 6th, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.